Welcome to the Liberating Joy in Learning podcast. I'm Robert Beckshan, and today we're beginning our discussion of the seventh and final primary lens, training with a mentor. After all the work we've done with the other primary lenses, the challenge now is to move beyond our determined efforts to work with resistance and look for and put our trust in mentors. In training with a mentor, we turn our learning journey over to someone else. As Jeff Goins explains, we have believed the myth of the self-made man and have given in to the illusion of self-reliance. What we need is something to pull us out of our own independence and arrogance. So question, when have you realized that you need help from a mentor with your learning?
The most glaring one for me, and maybe it's just because I feel intimidated, is piano.
Okay.
And I took piano when I was a kid. I quit in high school because it wasn't my passion.
Right.
And I've since picked it up because I enjoy music in general. But there's very clearly a ceiling where
right.
I can't.
You can't progress.
I can't progress.
On your own, yes.
Yeah. And I'm very clear that I need a teacher. Now, that being said, we've talked in the first season of this podcast, we talked about letting go of learning that you and that's one of those, right?
Right.
I like playing the piano. Occasionally I will pick it up. Life's been a little messy the last few years, so I haven't, but I don't choose to get to get a mentor, but I know that I would need somebody to help me get past that. Right. Gardening is another one where I'm like, just tell me what to do because I don't. It's gonna die. So, right. And I have one plant that I had to talk to a couple people, and I finally got something. Now, my peace lily doesn't make flowers, but it is not dead.
It's not dead.
The other
yes.
two peace lilies that I had. So yeah, those are two situations. Did you have anyone?
No, not off the top of my head right at the moment.
Okay.
However, we need mentors because, as Stephen Covey said, when we're left to our own experiences, we constantly suffer from a shortage of data. Mentors offer us something new, something different than we can find on our own. Bradley Stotts explains that, I know that in sharing my explorations with others, I am sure to hear ideas that will improve my own understanding. In isolation, I may be able to come up with an interesting way to think about things, but the back and forth of having that idea challenged is what tests and thus improves me. We need mentors who can truly stretch us and help us achieve the learning that only a mentor can offer us. Mentors who can help us achieve the learning we seek for deep in our hearts, but also mentors that open up joyful new vistas for us that we would never have considered for ourselves. Mentors help us reach for success beyond our capacity alone because they challenge us to learn from a perspective that is different from ours. In The Art of Work, Jeff Goins explains that at some point while we head toward our life's work, someone new and unfamiliar will have to come into our lives and speak with authority. So the next question is, what mentors have helped you learn something that you didn't expect to learn?
This is a tough one, really.
It is.
And I had a hard time coming up with things, but the clearest situation where a mentor opened up a new vista for me was a few years ago, and we had our family room situated where the TV was on one wall. And you came to me and said, I really want to put it on this other wall. And I was like, no, that's not going to work. No. Well, that's how we have it now. And
right.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Right? So, but it's a clear example of a mentor saying, oh, this is my vision. I think it can work. Let's try it. And I was like, okay, it's not going to work, but we can try it. And it does.
Works.
Like that's how it is now. So, and it's not to say that it won't change in the future. Right. But it was a clear example of no, it's not going to work. And yes, it does.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and as some of the things that they've said, like the quote from Bradley Stotts, where he says, let's see, in isolation, I may be able to come up with an interesting way to think about things, but the back and forth of having that idea challenged is what tests and thus improves me. In my profession, we do something similar to that a lot in my office, where we have what we call design charrettes, where we all get together, not on all projects, but on a lot of some of these bigger projects that we need to have a lot of different ideas and inputs from my boss, who has a little bit more experience than I do, all the way down to the people that just started working. And we throw our ideas. Everybody comes, we take 30 minutes, and we all come up with an idea for this design we're working on. And then we go through and we look at them and we talk about them. We present them and we get from everybody what works and what doesn't work. And that opens up new ideas to me because it's looking at an idea or a concept or a learning goal from a different perspective. And it's very, very powerful to do that.
Right.
A mentor's authority and confidence comes from a depth of experience. Mentors with a growth mindset guide us along the path to gaining the same qualities that they developed. A mentor's authority and confidence comes from a depth of experience. Mentors with a growth mindset guide us along the path to gaining the same qualities that they developed. Carol Dweck shows us that children's potential doesn't happen by simply telling them you can do anything. It happens by helping them gain the skills and find the resources to make progress toward their goals. Furthermore, she also describes how research is showing that when teachers care about deeper understanding and work with students to achieve it, then students are more likely to believe that their abilities can be developed. Training with a mentor means finding someone who deeply understands the process of learning what we seek and who can inspire us with their experienced perspective in order to truly empower our growing desires and learning claims. So a question that comes up then, when has someone's experience inspired your learning? The one that comes to my mind, and I don't know if I mentioned this in this podcast before, this setting, but when I was in high school, I took a carpentry class. I took wood shop in all 4 years of high school. And when I was a sophomore, I was building a desk. And I had to go in on the weekend to do some work because I didn't have anything to do, and I wanted to get this desk done because we were taking it to a show competition a few weeks later, and I needed to get it done. And so I was there, and I was working in the shop, with table saws and band saws and all the power equipment. And my teacher was in the classroom part of the shop, working with some kids that were doing drafting. And I overheard one of them say, "Do you really trust him to be in by himself out there?" And I can distinctly remember my teacher saying, "Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. I have no issues with him being out there." And that really gave me the confidence to know that I was doing something right. And that spark, that little, yeah, he's fine. I trust him and he knows what he's doing, helped me be confident in myself. I mean, not just in the project I was doing, but in myself. And I didn't think of it as a mentor-mentee relationship at the time, but looking back on it now, it definitely was.
Right. So, okay, I love taking time each week to think about how someone else could help me with my growing desires. This prepares my heart and mind to receive input from others on how to better progress toward my learning claims. Choosing someone to help me with a particular concern is like choosing the best power tool for a woodworking project or choosing the best piece of jewelry to match your ensemble for a night out. With this one, mostly I ask who can help me, but I also sometimes ask how can they help me and or how can they help me with a certain aspect of a problem that I most need help with. Some of my questions related to working with a mentor in my learning vistas include, how have great people in history and today gained their education? Who can mentor me in making the most of downtime? Who can mentor me in joyful relationships? Who can mentor me in joyful seasons with family? These questions prepare me to build inspiring relationships with mentors that help me learn from their perspective and experience. And really, working with a mentor, you need to open your heart to it.
Right.
You need to be prepared. I remember in college, I was a humanities major, and so I did a lot of writing, and I spent a lot of time in writing centers.
Right.
And some of it was not great, and it was because I wasn't prepared to accept the help that they had to offer.
Right.
And so in the years that I was in school, I learned to prepare myself. Okay, I'm going to the writing center. I got to be prepared to accept their advice, or just kind of get myself mentally, emotionally in that place.
Right.
And so when we approach this one, we get ourselves ready. We open ourselves up to just like all the quotes that we had that you gave earlier.
Right.
We open ourselves up for that kind of influence in our lives.
Right.
Okay, so now it's your turn. And I'll post some of these in the Facebook chat so you can ponder them more on your own. Who can best help you build on the work you've already done for your learning claim? Who will most effectively inspire you to do the hard work you need to do now to reach your learning claim? How can you prepare to learn from them? And what aspect of your learning claim are you most ready to learn about from a mentor? So when I'm progressing in my ability to train with a mentor, I can more effectively act with the courage it takes to train with a mentor, incorporate the expertise of others in my learning, and understand the value of a mentor's perspective and experience for reaching my learning claim. So how will you recognize when you're benefiting from your mentors?
Well, I think going back to one of the examples you said earlier about playing the piano and how it hasn't been a passion for you, but now you recognize that you reached a plateau.
Right.
When we're able to work with a mentor and we realize that we're benefiting, we're able to get past that plateau. We can see growth in what we're doing if we take the time to accept the help of a mentor, understanding that it's going to come from a different perspective. I love the line in Return of the Jedi where Obi-Wan says to Luke, "Well, I didn't lie to you. From a different point of view. I told you truth from a different point of view." And everything in life, and I go back to that, is you grow the most when you're able to accept or maybe understand that different point of view to help you get over those plateaus when you're learning. I think once you see that progression, then you're able to understand that working with a mentor has been beneficial.
Right. Yeah. I wrote down a few qualities, in addition to some of the fruits. There's a certain amount of humility.
Right.
That, it's just a perspective that you come at it, right? Like you approach them from a humble perspective.
Right.
There's a lot of peace. You mentioned the confidence, right?
Yes.
That person had given you. But when you're ready to work with a mentor, then you have that sense of confidence of, okay, I know they can help me. I'm ready to accept that.
Right.
And accepting confidence in their guidance. Like I know that what they have to tell me is going to be of value.
Right.
And all of the work that you've done with the other primary lenses will help you incorporate it in the way that you best need to.
Right.
Because their experience is going to be similar, right, but not exactly the same. And that's why all of the other primary lenses are so important. You need to do those so that your learning is your own, but still with a mentor, you do turn yourselves over a little bit to them, even though it's still your own and it's still going to be a little bit different. But you really open yourself up to their guidance.
Exactly.
Okay, so next time we'll wrap up this discussion of primary lenses and chart a course for the next season of our Liberating Joy in Learning podcast. In the meantime, send any questions or comments to learningliberated@gmail.com or share with us in our Learning Liberated Facebook group. And if this episode spoke to you, share it with someone else.
Thanks. Bye.